Welcome to this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind, where we get real world insights on winning from people who have accomplished amazing things. I'm your host, Larry Weidel, and let's get going. I'm talking to Mike Watts, and we're having a ball talking about his journey, his story, his trip to becoming really unique in the industry in his area, and making a success out of his own businesses by moving forward one step at a time, finding people he can partner with, and putting things together and taking them to the market. And we talked to Mike. He told us about when we left. I wanted to talk about the happy story in one episode, but he had just gotten the door slammed in his face twice at Shark Tank, and that's where we left it, right, Mike?
That's right.
And you know, the thing that really hurts, where the fact I know how much you put into that effort to get on there, by hearing about, you know, the time you put into the video and this, that, and the other, because the more effort you put in things, the harder it stings when it doesn't work, you know. And sometimes we feel like it's all wasted, but the funny thing is it's never all wasted.
Nope.
You know, all of that work eventually turns around and comes back into our favor one way or another. And so let's talk about, while you were absorbing the bad news of my second turn down on Shark Tank, what was happening behind the scenes were that these products that you were sending to the set, they were taking on a life. They were doing, they were like ants crawling throughout that studio, and you got one of your favorite sharks on the hook. Talk about how that worked.
Yeah, it was amazing, really. And I think that's the bigger theme we continue to talk about here, Larry, is that maybe it might not work out the way you think, but in some ways, maybe it's better. And that's exactly what this was. Daymond, his team, actually, it wasn't him at first, started ordering off of our website. He had a LoveHandle on his phone. And it's one of these things that I tell people, it's like wheels on a suitcase. Once you have a handle on the back of your phone, you never not want to have a handle. It's like, why would I want to do that? And so him and everybody at the Shark Group in New York were loving it, and they wanted to have some to give out to people when they walked in too. And so they were ordering them off of my website. And so I was in the details. I was literally looking through every single order that came in on the website. I spotted the Shark Group on there. I knew that was his company. And so there was a phone number there. So I picked the phone up, I called, and they answered. A lovely lady named Simone answered, and she said, "Simone with the Shark Group." I'm like, "Hi, I'm Mike Watts. You know, I'm the owner of LoveHandle. Y'all just placed an order for some of our products. I think Daymond John owns this company, right?" She goes, "Yes, he does." He goes, "Well, can I talk to him real quick?" And she goes, "Absolutely not."
Yeah.
But I did, you know, when she got done laughing, she did chat with me for a while. We connected on a personal level. And so I started sending through her more product to the office. He had just released one of the Rise and Grind book. And so I printed some with his logo on it, Rise and Grind. And hundreds of them. Sent them up there, and then they sent them to his book release party. So he's out passing out my product with his logo on it at his book signings. And I just kept sending those. When he came out with the Power of Broke, I did the same thing. And so, and then I made some with the Shark Group logo on them. And I was just really trying to deliver value back up to him and say, look, you know, I'd read this before, that if you want to get a deal with somebody that, you know, has a lot of, you know, clout or authority, then just put value in front of them. Just continue to give them value, and then wait for something good to happen. And so that's what I was doing. And the next thing you know, it was about almost a year later before this finally happened, that the phone rings, and it's Daymond's, the head of his company over there, calls me and goes, "Hey man, Mike, thanks first off for everything that you sent. And Daymond's super impressed with you. He's super impressed with the product. He loves everything about it. And he doesn't do this. He's got deals coming to him every single day, but he'd like to do a deal with you. And I was like, all right. So I immediately like jumped into the, pitch mode. I'm like, all right, finally I'm on Shark Tank. Here's my pitch. And he's like, oh, slow down. So we ended up making a deal, and it was a kind of a win-win deal where he would help us. And, because a lot of different people can help you with money, but not everybody's a shark. Not everybody has the connections to really help a business in the unique way that they can. And so he helped us by putting us on QVC and the Home Shopping Network. He got us on Good Morning America and The View, the Today Show. And then next thing you know, we are growing our business really quickly. And so we formed a partnership like that. And so now, instead of going on the Shark Tank, down the front aisle next to the Shark Tanks and standing out in front of the sharks and pitching, I come in the back door of Sony Picture Studio. I get to go in the back and hang out in the green room with all the sharks and watch all the other entrepreneurs pitch. And it's a beautiful story because it's way better than it would have ever been had I come in the front door. And so hopefully, if it's anything to anyone out there, just know that things can work out different than you, and probably will work out different than you think. But in a lot of ways, it can be better than you could ever dream.
Now, how does that feel? When was the first time you went in there and went in the back door and got into that inner circle type thing?
Well, the first time I got to be around the sharks, which was the only time I got to be in sort of an extended time frame. I was at CES a couple of years later, and I was having dinner with Daymond, and Mark Cuban showed up, came sit next to me. So I had dinner with him and Daymond, and we're just chatting it up like we're good old friends. We all hop into Suburban, and we're cruising down Las Vegas Boulevard, and we end up over at Jamie Foxx's mansion over there, and we're hanging out with Daymond John, and Mark Cuban introduced me as their friend to Jamie Foxx. And I was like blowing my mind. None of this would have happened, right, had it not been for the way this thing went out, and because I had delivered value and really built a relationship to them. So at the end of the day, all these guys, Larry, they're just like me and you. They're just people. They're sort of idolized because of where they are or what they've done, and people ask me all the time. I was like, Mike, how'd you do that? They see me with my product at a show, they'll meet me and they're like, wow, that's amazing. Like, how'd you do that? I'm like, well, it's a long story. But I guess I'm a 20-year overnight success in a lot of people's mind. I've been at it. I left my 40-hour a week job so I could work 80 hours a week 20 years ago. And so now I've finally got something to show for it.
Yeah, the thing is, that's why, we're going through all these grueling days and chipping away. That's where you wind up with a 20-year story. That's why, that's why, that's the way you get there. That's, and when you get around people like the sharks and celebrities in Hollywood, they appreciate, most of the time they've gone through the grueling thing. Most of them have had lawsuits and had, people stalking them and, sending, mad at them and accusing them of all kind of things. And they've had all these vicious attacks. And so they're kind of used to the game. And so they haven't got there by being perfect. A lot of times we have the image of these people are whoa, 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 because they're so perfect at everything, and even when I went through my worst financial times and all kind of terrible times, if I ever got around anybody who was a supposedly big shot, I can remember anytime anybody's pointing their finger at me, or I could just see the condescending look or the shame, look coming out. I said, here's what I said to myself, Mike, was, okay, be the big shot, act big, enjoy your moment. But you and I both know, this is my silent conversation I had with them, looking them in the eyes. And I said, you and I both know that if I put you under the microscope, you'd be the one squirming like a worm. a lot worse than anything I've ever done. So don't think I'm too upset because you basically have me over the table this time, because I know that if the truth were to come out, I'd be looking a whole lot better than you would right now. And so you have to have these things that give you an inner toughness where you don't back down and let yourself be intimidated
Right.
by these people, because let's face it, I mean, who do you know that's successful that doesn't have some kind of health problem, child problem, wife problem, relative problem? Like Jimmy Carter had his brother Billy Carter. You're too young to remember that, but Billy Carter, his brother, was arrested peeing on the runway in front of the entire press corps when he's on his way to visit Billy Carter. You just everybody's got weird relatives and things and skeletons and so it's like that. Yeah, you're gonna try and shame me. Come on,
No.
Yeah, I'm I'll accept it if I've done something wrong but just don't go overboard on it. That's
Right.
It's like, if we measure a lifetime of living, mine against yours, you might have me on this one thing, but if the truth came out, I'd be in pretty good shape compared to you. So I'm not going to let myself be shamed, And so when you're around people like Cuban and all, most of these guys have been through the wars themselves, and they don't have this exalted opinion of themselves. They'll protect, they have a protective barrier around fans and this, that, and the other from security things, and also people trying to get to them. But when you get up next to them and they know you're okay, you're behind the barrier now, it's, they're just normal folks. And that's what I try and present. And you've done a great job of helping me get that idea across to people who listen to this, because we're all human beings, and we're just, we're here for a limited period of time, and we're just trying to accomplish what we feel like we're supposed to accomplish, and in spite of what's in front of us. And the people who get things done appreciate how hard it is, and really are not the ones looking down their nose at everybody else, And so it's good to get in there yourself. It does something for you to find that out for yourself. You can hear people say that, but when you find out for yourself, like you did, it really is a confidence builder, don't you believe?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of wisdom in there. Comparison is truly the thief of joy. And so don't get around, comparing yourself to others. Just be content with where you're at, and, continue to do what you can do. But there's a lot to be learned from other people. Sharks, like I said, they're just people too, and I've learned a lot from them. But honestly, I've learned more from a lot of other people that I've been around. So they just happen to be on TV. So at the end of the day, it's just your own personal journey. We're all here for just a hot minute, and it's going to be messy. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. I encourage you to make as many mistakes as possible, because you're not going to regret the mistakes you made. You're going to regret the opportunities you passed on, the risks that you didn't take when you're laying on your deathbed one day. So.
Hey, thanks so much, Mike. A lot of wisdom, a lot of insight. And I like, I still got probably another 100 questions I'd like to ask you, but I'm going to have to hold them for the next time. And I know you got work to get back to, and I appreciate you carving out the time to share with us, and looking forward to your next adventures, man. Really looking forward to your next adventures. If you get up to Aspen or Palm Beach, give me a call, and let's go out and have dinner, share some great stories together.
Yeah, that sounds great, Larry. I really appreciate you having me on, and I hope your listeners got something out of it. And I, like you said early on, I think that this is a legacy piece. So I'm honored that this is going to live out there in cyberland long after me and you are around here. So
right, and if they want to follow up with you now, they can go to, what is it, LoveHandle.com?
LoveHandle.com if you want to shop our products. If you want to connect with me personally on Instagram, I'm at Mike Watts.
Yeah.
and or at LoveHandle, or you can find me on LinkedIn as well. Just look up Mike Watts LoveHandle, and I'm the only one on there. So
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks so much, Mike. Appreciate your attitude, your spirit, and honesty. Appreciate you sharing, man. This is great. Thanks so much.
thanks, Larry.
That wraps up this episode. Consider leaving a rating and review if you like what you heard. In addition, I have a free video for you that contains my best insights from 20 years of running my own business and also coaching $1 million earners. You'll find it at whiteelonwinning.com/webinar. Thanks for listening, and do it big.